again. The ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master's crib, but Israel doth not know.
He said Israel, that's the children he's talking about. So if God said I bring children, now he named the children. Is everybody a child of God? Everybody? Read 2 again.
Hear, O heavens, and give ear, O earth, for the Lord has spoken. I have nourished and brought up children.
God said, I nourished and brought up children, his children,
and they have rebelled against me.
Those children rebelled against him. Read.
The ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master's crib, but Israel does not know.
Who are his children that rebel and don't know? So how you, okay, if he said my children is those people, where you get everybody's a child of God from?
Right, bring it up.
That includes all the nations, right? I get what you said.
You see what I'm saying? But now we're going to go to the Bible, the New Testament, and see if our beloved brother Paul can simplify it for us. That we know if everybody's a child of God. Let's see that.
You want to start from
3.
Romans chapter 9 verse 3. For I wish that myself were accursed from Christ for my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh.
He said that I wish I could take the curse of Christ for my brethren. Who's his brethren? His kinsmen are his brethren. So when you read the Bible, they're talking about my brethren. They're talking about the kinsfolks.
Right.
According to the flesh. How you my kinsfolk according to the flesh? That means you came from the same ancestor.
Right.
Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's his kinsfolks. The 12 tribes. So when he said, my brethren, we was oh no, everybody don't know. He made it clear here. Read on. All right, brother, read.
Who are Israelites?
Who are his kinsfolk?
Israelites.
Plain and simple. Now jump to 7.
Verse 7. Neither because they are the seed of Abraham are they all children.
Not because. Let's start at 6, sorry.
Verse 6. Not as though the word of God has taken none effect, for they are all not Israel, which are Israel.
So remember, God's word said that Israel is his people. He said, that doesn't mean what I'm saying here is not is in contradiction with what God says. They are not all Israel who are of Israel. What it means? Not all of the children of Israel will listen to what we're saying.
Right.
The Bible prophesied that 2/3 of our people will die here.
The stiff necks.
Yeah. 2 out of 3. 1/3. So that is not all Israel who are of Israel. Why? Not all of them follow the footsteps of Israel who came from Israel.
Right.
Not all of them follow the footsteps. 2/3 will follow the footsteps of the devil.
Right.
So if you follow the devil, that's your father. Read.
Neither because they are the seed of Abraham are they all children.
Not because they're the children of Israel that make them all children. But Abraham had many children. His firstborn was who? Ishmael.
Right.
Is it not because he's the son of Abraham that make him all children? Remember what God said? He said, Abraham, take your son, your only son, and sacrifice. That was talking about Isaac. Why we could say Isaac is the only child when Ishmael was born first? Because God did not count that for his son. Grandchild. Yeah. Read.
Neither because they are the seed of Abraham are they all children, but in Isaac shall thy seed be called.
That's what he said. He said, not because of the seed of Abraham are they all children, but the children of Israel, the true seed, that will be counted for children of Israel, they'll be called in Isaac.
Right.
That means right there, you can remove Ishmael and the children of Keturah,
Right.
his last wife. You can remove those. He says, in Isaac, those kids gonna come from.
Right.
It's hard for us to comprehend that, because if you have a child, that's your child. But God doesn't see it that way. God said, that is not your child. And I'm saying, okay, yeah, you fathered that child, but that's not yours. I mean, the one that will be yours will come from Isaac.
Right.
Isaac is his child, and out of Isaac's children, Isaac had twins. We're going to see if God chose both. Read.
That is, they which are the children of the flesh, these are not the children of God.
He said, these which are the children of the flesh, they are not the children of God. What does that mean? This next part will make it clear.
But the children of the promise are counted for the seed.
It said, those that God promised Abraham, those are counted for Abraham's seed or children. But the other ones, they're the children of the flesh. That's just sex. Through sex you get that. That's children of the flesh. Right. They're not your children. Even if they were children of Abraham, they're not all children of God.
Right.
So that means Abraham came from somebody. There were other nations there. God already told you that those nations, that's not my children. My children come from who? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Right.
Read that again.
Verse 8. But the children of the promise, the end, are counted for the seed. I'll read from the top, okay. Verse 8. That is, they which are the children of the flesh, these are not the children of God.
These are not the children of God. Not everybody on the planet that God created are his children. But people misunderstand the whole thing. They're going by their carnal understanding. Well, did not God create? Well, that's not what God said here.
Right.
He said that not even because they come from Abraham. I didn't choose them. That's not my kids.
Right.
My kids will come from Isaac.
Right.
Those that are promised, those will be my kids. That's what he said. He's coming back to save us from those nations.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Just like when he sent Moses. Did he send Moses to save everybody in Egypt?
Bring it out.
That's it.
Right. Bring it out.
That's exactly the same thing that's going to happen. But people just, oh yeah, God so loved the world. You do not understand the word world.
Right.
How can you understand the verse itself? The word world can be used in many contexts.
Right.
You got to know what context is being used in. If you go in a dictionary, you'll see different contexts that the word world or meaning for it.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? It can mean when you say the Western world, the Eastern world, the New World, Old World.
Right.
The sea world, sport world. You can't put pigeons in the sport world unless they're playing soccer too. You see what I'm saying? So unless there's a sport for pigeons, just like there's sports for horses. I mean, those racing sports. So, no, yes, sir. You had a question?
No, yeah. I'd like to go to Romans 8 and 15. That explains who the children of God are.
No, we here. We already here. We explaining. Yes. Yeah, go ahead.
But the children of the promise are counted for the seed. For this is the word of promise.
You see, I said the children of the promise, they're counted for seed. Say, this is the word of promise. Now he's going to show you who was promised. Read.
At this time will I come. And Sarah,
How many children Sarah had? Abraham's wife. One.
right.
She was old. She was old. Abraham was 100 years old when he had the child. He was 99 years old when God made him the promise.
Right.
The very next year he had Isaac. That's the only child Sarah had.
Right.
So he said Sarah will have a child. That's a child of promise because God says that. Remember, give me that in Genesis 15. I believe verse 3.
Genesis chapter 15, verse 3. And Abraham said, Behold, to me that thou hast given no seed.
Abraham was talking to God. He said, look, you didn't give me no kids. At the time, he didn't have Ishmael yet. He said, you didn't give me no kids. You agree?
And lo, one is born in my house is my heir.
He said, there's a servant here in my house, that's one in my house, that gonna inherit everything I got because I ain't got no kids. Read.
And behold, the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, This shall not be thine heir.
Isn't that? Nah, your servant will not be your heir. Now that's not who's gonna be your heir.
But he that shall come forth out of thine own bowels shall be thine heir.
He said, the one that comes from your loins, from your own sperm, that is going to be your heir.
Ishmael was not his own sperm.
Say it again.
Ishmael was too. The only difference was because he was married.
Yes, but the thing is this.
That's how Isaac is.
All right, let's Bible thing I'm going to show you. Yes, Ishmael did come from there. He was not chosen.
I understand that.
Yes, so that's why we're trying to tell him. I'm trying to show him where did God make the promise. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So let's go back.
Romans chapter 9, verse 9. For this is the word of promise. At this time will I come, and Sarah shall have a son.
Yeah, so God, in Genesis, they tell him that. So, and Sarah did have a child.
He named the child Isaac. Why? Because when God said it to Abraham, he laughed.
Right.
And when Sarah heard it too, she laughed. In Genesis 19, she laughed. That's what Isaac means. Laughter, something like that. Read.
And not only this, but when Rebekah also had
Not only that promise, but when Rebekah, who's Rebekah? Isaac's wife. Now Isaac grew up, he has a wife, Rebekah. Read.
But when Rebekah also had conceived by one, even our father Isaac.
See that? He tell you, she was conceived by our father Isaac. He said, our father Isaac. That shows you what? The people that he's talking to, the Romans, he's talking to is what? What's nationality? Huh? Come on, man, you're not focusing. Our fathers. How can I say our fathers if you're a different nation?
Right.
Yeah, I see what you're saying now. I understand. Yeah.
So now I can say our father Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and call you American, but you will call me Haitian. When I say our father, that shows you what? Our true nationality is Israel. Those people he's talking to, those Italian Romans, they're actually Israel. You know what I'm saying? Roman citizenship. Give me that in Acts. I mean, I'm going to show you Paul himself was known as a Roman.
Acts chapter 22, verse 25. And as they bound him with thongs, Paul said unto the centurion that stood by, Is it lawful for you to scourge a man that is a Roman?
He said, is it lawful for you to beat a Roman without what?
Read again. And uncondemned?
That means you have to be judged. If he found guilty, then you scourge him. He said, because he was getting scourged before even appearing in court.
Right.
He said, is it lawful for him to do that? Read.
When the centurion heard that, he went and told the chief captain, saying, Take heed what thou doest, for this man is a Roman.
He said, Paul, we were talking about Paul. He said, be careful what you, because at the time, just like right now, if you're a U.S. citizen, when you go outside of the country, people got to be careful because the U.S. government going to come full body.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, be careful, he's American. You know what I'm saying? It's the same way he said, like, be careful, that guy is a Roman. Read.
Then the chief captain came and said unto him, Tell me, art thou a Roman? He said, Yea.
Paul said, yeah, I'm a Roman. Was he lying? No, he was not. Read.
And the chief captain answered, With a great sum obtained I this freedom. And Paul said,
He said, with the great sum I have this freedom. What freedom are we talking about? That? You are a Roman citizen? It said it cost me money. Just like people that migrated here, naturalized, become American citizen. They pay for it. But you're born here, it's free. You were born upstate, they have to pay for it. Read? That's what Paul going to answer, read.
And Paul said, But I was born free. But I was freeborn.
So I was freeborn. I was born a Roman citizen. I didn't have to pay for that. You bought it. I don't have to. You see what what I'm saying? Just like, you know, Haitian, all the other people that born outside, came here, grew up here, they pay for it. But you born here, now just like our children will be born here, free-born. He said, I was free-born. Now he said, he's a Roman. Now let's go to Romans 11.
Romans chapter 11, verse 1. I say then, has God cast away his people? God forbid.
You know, Christianity always said, no, God no longer deal with Israel. He cast away those people. What Paul said, have God cast away his people? God forbid. I said, hell to the no.
For I also,
I said, because I also
am an Israelite.
I'm an Israelite. So now, is Paul contradicting himself? No. By nationality, he is an Israelite. By citizenship, he's a Roman. You see what I'm saying? Now let's go back. No, that's fine.
Of the seed of Abraham.
See, I come from Abraham, of that seed.
Of the tribe of Benjamin.
He even tells you his tribe. Benjamin, the last son of Jacob. I'm from him. So he know exactly who he was. So that's what I was saying when he said our father. You know what I'm saying? But our father Jacob, that means those people with Roman citizenship he was talking to, they're actually Israelites. Read.
Romans chapter 9, verse 10. 9 verse 9. For this is the word of promise. At this time will I come, and Sarah shall have a son. And not only this, but when Rebekah also had conceived by one, even our father Isaac.
Remember, those are letters, epistles that he sent to the people that live in Rome. When you read the books of Acts, you will understand why he was sending those letters. So that's why I'm addressing the Romans. Just like, for example, if we have people living in Mexico, we say, okay, this is for the Mexicans. But we know they're from the tribe of Issachar. They're our brothers. Okay, this is for the people in Argentina, the Brazilians. This is for the Haitians. But we know who we're talking about. They're actually our brothers. That's what they will identify as. You see what I'm saying? Read.
Verse 11, for the children being not yet born.
The children conceived by Rebekah, conceived by our father Isaac, not yet born. That means they're just in the stomach. Read.
Neither having done any good or evil.
There was no good or evil. They're in the stomach. What bad did they do? No evil. Read.
That the purpose of God.
That the purpose of God. God purposed it. God purposed it. That's his will.
According to the election might stand.
According to the election, according to his chosen. Just to his chosen. Might stand. He picked from the belly. From the belly he picked. He said, this one, that one, what he said?
Not of works.
Not because of what they did. Not like they worked for it.
But of him that calleth.
But of him that make the choice. God is the one that called him.
It was said unto her.
It was said unto Rebekah,
the elder shall serve the younger.
The elder child will serve the younger child. And when you read Genesis 25:25, Esau came out first, so that's the elder child, and Jacob came after. Read.
As it is written.
As it is written. That shows you what? As it is written. The same way you know it's written in the book of Malachi, chapter 1.
So Rebecca was Esau and Jacob's mother, right?
Yes, twins.
Right, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. He said, as it is written,
Jacob have I loved.
As it is written, it's written somewhere. Jacob have I loved. I have loved Jacob.
But Esau have I hated.
God said, people say God don't hate nobody. But it's written here. God said, I hate Esau. I love Jacob. So that shows you what? Everything that you've been told growing up, going to those churches, so-called, is not, we were not teaching you the Bible.
Right.
They were teaching you their own understanding, not the Bible. The Bible shows that God hates certain people on this planet.
Right.
That part I do believe you're right. And I ain't looked at when I was coming up to church when I was young.
I never learned that.
Yeah, that's true, man.
And you might say, no, it's because of what he did. He said, not because he did nothing. God said, I don't like this one.
Right.
Now I'm going to create him, but I don't like him. That's what God says. Can I change it? Let's say I said, God, I don't agree. I don't like that. Will that change God's mind? Will that change anything? That's just my problem. I can either roll with that, disagree, or whatever. It will not change anything.
Right.
God said it is it. Read.
What shall we say then?
So in that case, what are you going to say? Especially Christianity.
Is there unrighteousness with God?
So that means God is evil? Because he hate that nation and love this nation? That make God unrighteous?
God forbid.
Hell to the no.
For he saith to Moses, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy.
That's what God told Moses in Exodus. He said, listen, man, I will have mercy on whoever I want to have mercy on. So can you say, God, listen, that's unrighteousness. He created righteousness. He tell you what righteousness is. Now you want to tell him this is unrighteous. He said, no. Because I created this nation, and I say I hate that nation, though I created that nation, and this nation I say I love. Because I choose these people over everybody, does that make me unrighteous? He said, no. He said to Moses, I'll have mercy where I have mercy.
Forget about what you said. That Christianity, they teaching all of us, some of us that just woke up yet that Christ's going to come back for everybody, including the white people.
He's coming for everybody, but not for the same reason. He's coming to save some people, he's coming to destroy some. So he's coming for everybody in that sense.
And I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion.
I will love whoever I want to love.
Read. So then it is not of him that willeth.
So in that sense, it's not of who wants it,
nor of him that runneth, but of God that showeth mercy.
It's of God. He has mercy on who he wants to. That ain't got nothing to do with me. What if I was Esau? Just like the rejoicing in power today, and we in pain and sorrow and oppressed on the bottom.
Right.
So when it's reversed, so be it. Just like the only way I can change it is by repenting and let my nation know they must repent, because God will not come and save me alone.
Right.
He said, there's a number I'm coming for. Make sure you go out there and bring that number in.
Right.
I have to put the work in. Not only teach it, but live it, practice it.
Right.
You know what I mean? A lot of things that are deeply rooted in our mind, just like we were going over earlier, those we must overcome. Yeah, read.
For the scripture saith unto Pharaoh, even for the same purpose have I raised thee up.
Remember, that thing ain't changed. He's still talking about the same voice. He said, remember what God said to Pharaoh? He said, I raised you up for this purpose. He said, those Rome at the time was in power, the white man. He said, for the same purpose that I rose Pharaoh and I brought Egypt to be the first power, the greatest power on earth at its time, it's the same reason why I raised you up. Read it again.
For the scripture saith unto Pharaoh, even for the same purpose have I raised thee up.
Because the Pharaoh of today is the so-called white man.
That's right.
Biblically known as Esau the Edomites. Read.
That I might show my power in thee.
God said, I raise you up so I can show my power in you. Not everybody worshiping as God everywhere. We could go anywhere on the planet, you show this image, they'll tell you that's Christ. The image, they worship him through this image. There you go. So God said, I'll raise you up, now everybody see you as God. And when I come and destroy you, there will be no question who's the real power.
Right.
That's why I raised you up. Because after God destroyed Egypt, everybody know not to mess with the children of Israel.
Right.
He said, oh, Egypt, that powerful nation, nobody dared to mess with it. God came and destroyed that thing in a few days.
Right.
So them things that's over in Egypt, of Israel now. They definitely not the real Jews. So wait.
That's what they are.
Right.
Same people.
Right.
I mean, same people. I mean, they stole our land over there under the name of Jewish. They wish to be Jews. And here, they stole this land under the name of Christianity. We are Christians.
Right.
I'm saying they stole both of our lands. Read.
And that my name might be declared throughout all the earth.
So once God destroyed the so-called white man, the Edomites, Esau, the red man, the Europeans in America, Canada, everybody will know not to mess with him. Because right now, though you have North Korea, China, all those, though they get their own little missiles, if you look at it, when they say, yeah, they got nukes, they have this, they have that, yeah, America said, no, you should not do that, but that's what? They're still chilling, because they know what they got.
Right.
They don't brag about it, they know what they got. But what's his name? The president today, Trump. Remember what he says? He said, if you trip, he said, we'll drop so much bomb on you, man, you won't even believe it. Then they dropped not too long ago a bomb called Moab, mother of all bombs. They got those things. They got those things stacked up there. You know what I'm saying? They're stacked up. But guess what? There's a date on them. They cannot remain forever. They got to explode. I mean, they can cool them off, put them under water for so long. But God put the Spirit in him to create those nukes.
Right.
So when he said he will destroy the earth by fire, that's the fire he's talking about.
We used to scream black power while Heron was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. Iuic has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission, minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold, from Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. Iuic, we deliver the truth.